Let's talk about multiplying and dividing. Pretty cool. For multiplying and dividing integers, the rules are actually the same. So we're going to discuss the rules and remember that they can be applied to multiplying and dividing no matter which type of problem you are doing. So go ahead and get two different colors. We're going to use pink for positive. These are all of our positive integers, the counting numbers that are to the right of 0 on the number line. And I'm going to use green for negative numbers. These are the opposites of the counting number to the left of 0 on the number line. We're not going to do any problems with 0 as it is neither positive nor negative, and we're going to be learning the rules using positive and negatives. So if you have a positive and you multiply it or divide it by another positive, your answer is going to be positive. If you have a negative number and you multiply or divide it by a negative number, your answer is actually going to be positive. Now, if you have a positive integer and you multiply it or divide it by a negative integer, then your answer is going to be negative. If you have a negative integer and you multiply or divide it by a positive integer, then your answer is also going to be negative. So when we're multiplying or dividing, and our integers have the same sign, then our answer is going to be positive. Same signed integers give us a positive product or quotient. When we're multiplying or dividing, and we have two different signed integers, one positive, one negative, it doesn't matter the order, your answer will be negative. So let's do some examples. If you have 4 times negative 8, if you have 4, this is a positive 4, times negative 8, then your answer, because one is positive, one is negative, is going to be negative 32. If you have negative 18 and we divide negative 18 by positive 3, when we have a negative divided by a positive, then our answer is negative. And one more, if we have negative 9 times negative 2, same signs, both negative, our answer is going to be positive. Positive. So the rules for multiplying and dividing integers are the same. Positive times positive gives you positive. Positive divided by positive gives you positive. Negative times negative gives you positive. Negative divided by negative gives you positive. Same signed integers give you a positive solution. When you have different signed integers and you're multiplying or dividing, your answer will be negative. But what if you have more than 2 numbers in your problem? What if you have more than 2 numbers? What happens then? Let's use our exact same colors. We're going to use pink for positive, and we're going to use green for negative. Okay, so let's use more than 2 numbers. Let's do a positive times a positive times another positive. We have 3 positive numbers, and we're multiplying or dividing. When we have 3 positive numbers, our answer is going to be positive. When we have 3 negative numbers, so a negative times another negative times another negative, our answer is actually going to be negative. Because remember, 2 negatives made a positive, and then we had a positive times a negative, which would give us a negative. Now, what if you had this? You have a positive number, a negative number, and then a positive number. Positive times negative times another positive. Positive times negative would give you a negative, and then a negative times a positive would give you a negative. Remember, when we multiply in math, we go from left to right. What if you had a negative times a positive times another negative? We have negative times negative. Remember, negative times a positive would give us a negative. And then a negative times a negative would actually give us a positive. So there are actually some rules here. Do you know your difference between odd and even numbers? Odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, so on and so forth. Even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, any number divisible by 2. If we have an odd number of negatives, if we have 1 negative in our problem, if we have 3 negatives in our problem, if we have 5 number of negatives in our problem, then our answer is going to be negative. If we have an even number of negatives in our problem, for example, 2 negatives in our problem, 4 negatives in our problem, 6 negatives in our problem, that would be a long problem to solve, then our answer would be positive. So let's do an example of this situation. If we have positive 2 times negative 3 times positive 2, let's look at our options here. We have a positive, and then a negative, and then a positive. How many total negatives do we have in this problem? 1 negative. When we have an odd number of negatives, our answer is going to be negative, and then we're going to do math from left to right. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So the answer to this problem would be negative 12. Let's do another one. Let's do negative 3 times negative 2 times negative 1. Negative, negative, negative. We have 3 negatives. 3 is an odd number. When you have an odd number of negatives, your answer is going to be negative. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 1. So the answer to this problem would be negative 1. It's really important to remember these rules for multiplying and dividing integers.